Welcome to Brilliantly British. Today I'm going to show you how to make a brilliantly British cottage pie. So sit tight, relax and enjoy. For today's cottage pie, you will of course need some good quality beef, some flour, which will be used to dust the beef, some asparagus, it's in season and fresh, chopped celery, grated carrot, one chopped large onion, another carrot, some green beans, parsley, dried or fresh is up to you, some Worcestershire sauce, some potatoes, a dish to actually bake in this case I've got a ceramic dish, the dimensions of which will be written in the description below, some celeriac, and of course, as always, you need to stay hydrated whilst you cook, so a nice cup of tea. To start ourselves off with the cottage pie, the first thing we need to do is flour our beef. The reason we do this is to put a nice coating of flour around the beef, which will then brown very nicely and in the long run will thicken the sauce. So in goes our flour. Mix that in. You can see as well, these are the kind of chunks of beef that we're kind of looking for, about this size. Okay. Our beef is nicely floured and dusted, and now we're ready to fry it. Very quickly, on quite a high heat, we're going to brown the beef, and this will help us to develop some flavor. What should happen as well is that some fond should develop at the bottom of your pan. This is actually a good sign, and when we add vegetables later on, this fond will actually be dissolved by the juices from the vegetables and actually will enhance the flavor of our sauce later on. In will go our vegetables, and what is going to happen now, like I said, is that the fond is going to be dissolved by the juices from the vegetables, so make sure you stir well. When the water goes in, this will infuse all of these flavors, and simply what we're going to do is cook the vegetables until they're fully broken down. Whilst the vegetables cook over there and reduce down, it only makes sense to then start our potatoes, which are going to be used to make some mash. So just pour them into a pot. As always, I will recommend boiling the potatoes whole, because this will make sure the potatoes cook, but in as dry a fashion as possible. The better way of cooking them would be to bake them, but this is much faster and simpler. And now we just move this over to the stove. With time, the liquid in the vegetables will have reduced, and this is the right time now to add more liquid, and then add your meat, stir, add more water, enough water to actually fully submerge all of the pieces of meat, and then we're going to turn the heat down and allow this to simmer before adding in some Worcestershire sauce. Finally, cover with a lid, or in this case, with some foil. The sauce for this cottage pie is almost ready, and now we're going to prep the vegetables that are going to go in at the end. The reason we didn't put all of these vegetables in at the beginning was because by now they will have completely disappeared and become mush, and we do want to maintain some texture in this dish. The green beans just cut into 1 centimeter long pieces. And all of these will go together into our bowl of already chopped celeriac. Normally, celeriac wouldn't be used, but in this case, I'm using celeriac. I like it, and also recommend that you try it as well. We have our vegetables chopped, and now we're going to put that and add that into the sauce. The beef has tenderized ever so slightly and the sauce has thickened. So now's the time to add in salt and our vegetables, a bit more water to cook this for a bit longer. Our mash, to make it, we're just going to use, in this case I have a potato ricer. If you don't have a potato ricer, then you'll use a normal potato masher. We're going to add in our butter, some salt and pepper as well, and in will go our parsley, about a tablespoon. Our mash is ready. Now we're going to spoon this onto our sauce before baking. I've allowed the sauce to cool down completely. This makes it much easier for us to spoon on the mash, and will also make sure that the mash doesn't absorb too much of the sauce. And so we have a beautifully constructed cottage pie. This is going to go into a preheated oven until it's golden brown on top and bubbling around the sides. We've got about 15 to 20 minutes left for the pie to be ready whilst it's baking there in the oven, and I feel this is the perfect time to start cooking the asparagus. So I'll show you how. We add a little bit of water into the pan, some cooking oil, salt. I didn't mention it before, but this is my preference. I like to add garlic to my asparagus, but it's not a necessity. Okay, and in goes the asparagus, just like that. And on a very high heat, because we want the water to evaporate and at the same time cook the asparagus. We're just going to set that and then put the lid on and leave that to steam. I am so excited to cut into this, but also a little bit sad because I mean it looks so good from here, and I can tell you, you can smell the butter, you can smell all of that delicious meatiness, and let's get into it. Oh, like so. Beautifully cooked. This looks so good. It is piping hot, as you can imagine, but I don't care. I'm going to dig in right now. Oh, this is naughty. The mash is so creamy. Parsley as well is in the background. Got a bit of beef here. Let's see. This is going to be hot. Warning. Just melts in your mouth. You know, asparagus with the garlic, and I really recommend you add garlic. It's delicious. Please, please, please try this yourselves. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Brilliantly British. Hopefully you'll try this dish yourselves. I promise you, as you've seen, it is completely and definitely worth it. And I'll see you next time.